Borski, and this evening I'm going to be giving you a quick presentation over the Johnson & Johnson Company. The Johnson & Johnson Company has been around for over a century, and after doing some research, I've learned that the Johnson & Johnson Company is a company that cares about the well-being of the people they serve. This evening I'm going to be discussing a few things: their history, a little bit of their brief history, their credo, their guidelines, and where the Johnson & Johnson Company is at today and where they're going to be at in the future. It all started over a century ago in 1886 with three brothers who were inspired to create a company that would improve and better sanitation practices. Hannah Blake writes in her article, A History of Johnson & Johnson, that about their quest for this founding of this company. A year later, the very first aid kit was created. This first aid kit actually was talked in the Kilmore House First Aid Kit article. It's talked about how the whole idea came about. The brother, Robert Johnson, had gotten on a train, and was talking to one of the railroad surgeons, and they were discussing how difficult it is to get injured workers the help that they need. It stated in the Kilmore House article that when someone was injured before the era of first aid kits, the standard operating procedure was to have someone run as quickly as they possibly could to fetch a doctor. I mean, that's not really efficient at all. While someone's injured, you can't really help them because there weren't any procedures to do. You didn't have a set of gauges right there that you could, take care of somebody, or alcohol swabs, or any of the things that we now have typically within hand's reach, thanks to the Johnson & Johnson First Aid Kit. The Johnson & Johnson Company also has a tradition of natural disaster relief. It's kind of a corporate social responsibility that they've taken on. This tradition started after the hurricane that hit Galveston in 1900. Fred Kilmore wrote in his article, The Origins of Our Disaster Relief, that in the Galveston flood, all drug stocks were destroyed, and Johnson & Johnson immediately forwarded emergency supplies by express at their own expense. Not many companies did that back then. If there was a natural disaster, people were really on their own. Johnson & Johnson took it upon themselves to do what was right for that community, to do what was right for those individuals, and send them supplies for free at the company's cost. One of their other really great life-changing, well-being inventions was the invention of the Band-Aid. Susan Warner discusses the invention of the Band-Aid in her article, From Band-Aids to Biotech. The Band-Aid was actually created by an employee named Earl Dixon. Earl Dixon got the idea for the Band-Aid when he couldn't help but his wife continuously was accidentally cutting herself while cooking. And he thought to himself, well, instead of holding, this gauze here on your finger, let's take an adhesive tape and put it on top of it, and it'll hold itself in place. So, the invention of the Band-Aid. Throughout this first few years of the Johnson & Johnson history, it is easy to tell that the Johnson & Johnson Company cares about the individuals, cares about the people they serve. they've created this image of care. This image was just an image until 1943, when General Robert Wood Johnson put it into words. He wrote their very own credo. This credo is still used today. It's kind of their guidelines for how they make decisions in their company. It's what led them to where they are today, and it's what will continue to lead them into the future. The very first line of this credo is, "We believe our first responsibility is to the doctors, nurses, and patients, to the mothers and fathers, and all who use our products and services." This is them taking on a corporate social responsibility. Not many companies do that. Most companies are very into the business, into the money. That's not their responsibility. Yes, of course it's important, but their first responsibility is to us, is to the consumers, is to the doctors that are helping the well-being of others. Johnson & Johnson is very, very hard, and they strongly believe this. And this is how they've gotten to where they are today. Today, the company is made up of over 250 different companies, all under one name, all working together to help the well-being of the world. These companies include consumer products, medical device products, and even pharmaceutical products. These are all things that help the well-being of individuals. Your consumer products literally help the individual. Your medical devices, such as a heart stent or the blood pressure device, things like that. And then you even have pharmaceuticals and research places, looking to help with different diseases such as cancer and AIDS and schizophrenia. All of these things are things that the Johnson & Johnson Company have taken on because of their credo, because of who they were in the past. This is who they are. The majority of the profit that Johnson & Johnson gets nowadays, even though we mainly hear about the consumer stuff, that's kind of what we mainly know as a household name, the Johnson & Johnson Company actually gets a lot of their profit, the majority of their profit, from the pharmaceutical things. And I think in the future, they'll focus a lot on the pharmaceutical stuff, because that's what's going to really make a huge, big difference in the world. So moving into the future, Hannah Blake, in her article, A History of Johnson & Johnson Company, kind of states that no one really knows exactly where they're going to be. No one can actually say they're going to do this. The Johnson & Johnson Company will do this. You don't really know. But it's clear to see from the past, it's clear to see from their beliefs that are written in the credo, and from where they are today, that they will continue to make decisions to help care for the world. It will continue to help better the well-being of individuals. This current CEO, Alex Borski, writes as a message on their Johnson & Johnson website that we are always on the hunt for the best innovation. So, from three brothers who just wanted to better sanitation practices, to the invention of the first aid kit and the Band-Aid, to actually writing out their image and writing out their responsibilities and leading them to where they are today, and for, kind of giving them a guideline of where to go in the future. This is the Johnson & Johnson Company. The Johnson & Johnson Company is a company that cares about the world. even if it's just one individual at a time. Thank you.